All right, so you guys know I love to dig into the details of these company pitch decks, and today we're looking at one that really piqued my interest, Phenegra. They're doing some pretty amazing stuff in both asphalt and agriculture.
Yeah, they're really bridging to seemingly unrelated fields, using some pretty advanced material science, too.
Exactly. And you know me, I have to start with the problem they're trying to solve, and in this case, it's two pretty big ones, potholes and the challenges of growing food. I mean, we've all hit a pothole at some point,
Oh,
right?
yeah, tell me about it. I think I lost an axle last month.
And it turns out it's not just a minor annoyance, it's a massive problem. Phenegra's pitch deck says there are something like 55 million pothole repairs every year just in the U.S., and that's costing us about $3 billion in vehicle damage.
Not to mention the safety hazards.
Right, and it's not just about the immediate costs either.
All that asphalt production and the constant repairs have a real environmental impact, too.
Okay, so we've established potholes are bad news. But let's shift gears for a second and talk about agriculture. I mean, we're all trying to eat healthier these days, but is the food we're buying even as nutritious as it could be?
That's the question, isn't it? And it all comes back to soil health.
Right. If the soil is depleted, the plants don't get the nutrients they need, and that affects the food we eat.
Exactly. It's all connected.
So Phenegra thinks they have a solution, and it's called PLPS.
Which stands for?
Well, it's a whole system, actually, a combination of microbes and a specially designed environment for seeds to grow. They have P liquid, which is this special formula with these microbes.
And which microbes are we talking about here?
So they focus on three types of soil microbes that are essential for healthy plant growth.
I listen.
One type helps fight off bad bacteria and unlock nutrients in the soil. Another type aids in decomposition. And the third type improves the structure of the soil and makes nutrients more available to plants.
So it's like a power trio for plant health.
Exactly. And they've figured out how to get these microbes to work together in a way that really supercharges plant growth. They also have the pea pod, which is a unique seed pod,
Now, that sounds interesting.
and a special seed pretreatment called pea seeds. All of this together makes up the PLPS system.
Clever.
And the results are pretty amazing. They have this picture in their pitch deck showing two Ferrari bush bean seeds, one grown with PLPS and one without. The difference is unbelievable.
I'm going to need to see this.
The untreated seed is covered in mold, but the one grown with PLPS is healthy and vibrant.
So not only are the plants healthier, they look better.
Right. And they've seen success with all sorts of crops. Watermelons, tomatoes, lettuce chard, you name it.
That's impressive.
It's not just about appearances, though. They're seeing faster germination, stronger root systems, enhanced nutrient uptake, and increased disease resistance.
Now, when they say increased disease resistance, what exactly do they mean?
Well, they use this term induced systemic resistance.
Right, that was in the deck.
Yeah, and it basically means they're helping the plants develop a natural shield against disease. So they're less susceptible to pests and diseases, and that means we can reduce our dependence on pesticides and antibiotics.
Oh, so it's like boosting the plant's own immune system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Healthier plants, healthier soil, healthier us.
I like it.
And all of this could lead to a more sustainable and efficient way of growing food.
Potentially a major shift in agriculture.
Okay, so we've talked about superpowered plants. But now for the really mind-blowing part. Where does graphene fit into all of this?
This is where it gets really interesting. They're taking their expertise in material science and applying it to asphalt.
Right. So just to recap, graphene is this incredibly strong and flexible material. It's basically a single layer of carbon atoms arranged in a honeycomb pattern. And it's something like 150 times stronger than steel.
Yeah, but the problem has always been actually using it. It's notoriously difficult to work with.
Right, but Phenegra seems to have cracked the code. They've developed something called transportable reactive graphene, and it's a game changer.
How so?
Well, in their pitch deck, they have this visual comparing regular graphene to their reactive version. And the difference is night and day. The reactive graphene is actually bonding with the surrounding material.
So they found a way to make it more usable.
Exactly, and this has led them to create something called graphalt.
Graphalt.
Yeah, it's basically graphene-enhanced asphalt.
That sounds promising.
It is. The graphene bonds with the asphalt, making it incredibly strong and resistant to cracks and potholes. And get this, they've been field testing it for over 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah, so they're not just talking about theory here. They have real-world data to back it up.
That's reassuring.
And they've also developed this AI system called the Phenegra Pothole Predictor.
Okay, now that sounds intriguing.
It's basically an AI that analyzes road conditions to predict where and when potholes are likely to form.
So instead of just reacting to potholes, we could actually prevent them.
Exactly. Talk about efficiency and cost savings.
This is starting to sound like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? Who would have thought we could use graphene to make roads that fix themselves?
It's pretty incredible.
So we've gone from super-powered plants to super strong roads, all thanks to Phenegra.
It's amazing what happens when you start connecting the dots between different fields.
And this is just the beginning. They have even bigger plans for the future.
Like what?
Well, we'll dive into all that in the next part of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
It's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah, it really is. But let's get real for a second. There have to be challenges, right? I mean, this all sounds almost too good to be true.
Of course. Scaling up any new technology is never easy.
Especially something as revolutionary as this.
Right. There could be unexpected technical issues, regulatory hurdles, even just getting people to accept the idea.
And what about the agriculture side of things?
Well, yeah, their PLPS system has shown some impressive results in trials. But there's always the wild card of Mother Nature.
Right. Different climates, soil types, farming practices, all of that could affect how well it works in the real world.
And let's not forget about potential pushback from the agricultural industry. Farmers could be pretty resistant to change.
That's a good point. But it seems like Phenegra is aware of that. Their pitch deck actually emphasizes the importance of training and support.
Okay, good.
They even talk about using data collection and analysis to continuously improve the system. So they're not just throwing it out there and hoping for the best.
A data-driven approach is definitely essential in agriculture, especially when you're dealing with something this complex.
And they're exploring different ways to bring PLPS to market, targeting everyone from individual gardeners to large-scale commercial farms.
So they're trying to make it accessible to as many people as possible.
Exactly. It's all part of their goal of improving food security worldwide.
Makes sense.
Now, on the Graphalt side, their plan seems pretty ambitious too. They're talking about starting with smaller paving companies and then moving on to acquiring larger ones, with the ultimate goal of penetrating the entire paving industry.
That's a pretty bold vision.
It is. But they're not stopping there. Do you remember all those other applications we talked about?
Oh yeah, the asphalt shingles, the waterproofing membranes.
Right, and the coatings, even underwater applications.
It's like they're building a whole ecosystem around Graphalt.
They even mentioned collaborating with other companies. Companies working on things like infrared asphalt repair and wireless EV charging embedded in the roads.
Interesting.
And of course, there's the pothole predictor. That AI could be incredibly valuable for anyone dealing with road maintenance.
Yeah, imagine the savings if we could predict and prevent potholes instead of constantly reacting to them.
It's a total paradigm shift.
From short-term fixes to long-term solutions.
Now, their pitch deck also gives us a glimpse into their long-term vision for the company. They highlight their team's expertise in a wide range of areas.
Such as?
Well, they have experts in material science, research, finance, legal, even public relations.
So they're covering all the bases.
It seems like they're really thinking about all aspects of bringing this innovation to market, and they have a dedicated publicity advisor on their team.
Oh, that's smart.
It shows they understand the importance of communication and public perception.
Absolutely. And on the business side, they've clearly done their homework. They've projected their potential LTV to CAC ratio.
Which is?
Well, it's basically a measure of how profitable they expect to be.
And for Graphalt, they're estimating a ratio of 33-to-1.
Wow.
Which means they expect to make a significant return on their investment.
That's impressive.
Of course, these are just projections. Real-world results may vary.
Right, but it shows they've thought carefully about their business model.
And throughout their pitch deck, they keep emphasizing the positive impact they believe they can have on the world.
I noticed that too.
They talk about addressing global challenges like food insecurity and environmental degradation.
It's a pretty ambitious vision.
They even include this powerful quote from Dr. Gordon Hsu, their co-founder. He says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the discovery of transportable reactive graphene will be one of the most significant discoveries of our time.
A bold statement.
But given the potential applications, it's not entirely outlandish.
True. We're really just starting to understand what's possible with this technology.
And Phenegra is leading the way. So after taking this deep dive into their pitch deck, what are your final thoughts? Do you think they have what it takes to make a real impact?
I do. They've got the scientific breakthroughs, the innovative thinking, and a real desire to make a difference.
I agree. It's going to be fascinating to see how their journey unfolds. You know, it's funny, we started talking about potholes, and now we're discussing the future of food and infrastructure.
It really is remarkable.
So before we wrap up, what were some of the biggest takeaways for you?
Hmm, that's a good question. I think for me, it's the potential for a ripple effect. These innovations could have a positive impact far beyond just roads and food. Like, imagine a world with more efficient infrastructure, a healthier food system, and a greater focus on sustainability.
That's a world I want to live in.
Me too.
And you know what's really exciting? Phenegra is just one example of the amazing things happening in material science and biotechnology right now.
Right? Makes you wonder what other breakthroughs are just around the corner.
Exactly. And I think that's what I love most about doing these deep dives.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, it really is. It reminds us that there are people out there working on solutions to the biggest challenges we face.
And that there's hope for the future.
Absolutely. So if you found this deep dive into Phenegra intriguing, don't stop here. Do some research, follow their journey, and maybe even check out other companies working on similar challenges.
Yeah, get curious.
Exactly. You never know, maybe you'll be the one to come up with the next big idea that changes the world. Until next time, keep diving deep and stay curious.